Hey guys, it's William with Art and Practice Partners, and today I just wanted to talk about revenue leakage and how to find that in your mental health practice. And if you've been running a mental health practice for a couple of years, you should know that billing can feel overwhelming. But what I've learned over the last couple of years from auditing these practices is that most revenue leaks come from the same handful of issues and they are fixable. So, this will be the first episode in a six-part series where I'm going to walk you through exactly how to conduct a billing review for your mental health practice. We'll cover things like setting up, what to look for, where the money typically gets lost, and how to fix it. And this will be the same process I use when I audit a practice's revenue cycle. So, in the first episode, we're just going to be starting off with the foundation, which is how to set up your billing review correctly. Because if you don't gather the right data from the beginning, that defeats the whole point and you'll miss everything. So let's start there. So before you can identify any issues, you need access to the right systems to be able to extract the correct data. And here's what that'll look like. So first things first, you'll need access to your practice management system or EHR. You could be a number of them, Simple Practice, Therapy Notes, Advanced MD. Those are a couple of the larger name players. You need to be able to export the appointment list, patient ledgers, and claim data. In Advanced MD, which is what we use, there's a patient transaction report you can export. And then I believe Simple Practice has a data export feature as well. I know Therapy Notes lets you use the search billing transactions tool and export everything to a spreadsheet. But besides the EHR, you'll also want access to your clearinghouse portal. So that's basically where you can see your claim submission reports, rejection messages, and whether claims were actually accepted. Sometimes the claims do get stuck there and never make it to the payer. The next piece of access you'll need is your login to your major insurance portals, Medicare, Medicaid, Blue Cross, Optum, whoever you work with most. These portals will show you more detail about claim status, eligibility, and remittance details. And sometimes the denial reasons are a lot clearer here than anywhere else. And then lastly, you do want to pull up your financial records too, bank statements, deposit reports, payment posting logs. That's what you want to reconcile what the system says you were paid with what actually hit your account. And then one more thing is also if you have any previous billing reports or KPI dashboards, just grab those. They can give you a baseline to compare against. Now, before you dive into the claims and into the data, you do need a credentialing and provider profile. This will catch setup issues early. And here's what you want to collect. You want to collect your MPI, both type 1 individual and type 2 group if you have one. Then your taxonomy code. Make sure that taxonomy matches your actual license because some payers do route their mental health claims based on taxonomy. And then check your CAQH profile. Is it up to date? When was it last attested? For each payer you're network with, just note the effective date of credentialing. Any claims before that date will be denied as out of network. And then get copies of your insurance contracts or at least the fee schedule for your top CPT codes. And then you'll just be using this later to spot underpayments. And if you don't have contracts, you can just use your recent EOBs to figure out typical allowed amounts. Then you also want to verify your service locations and make sure the place of service codes on your claims match where you're actually licensed to practice. That's more applicable for telehealth in particular. If you do that across state lines, confirm you are licensed in those states. For Medicare, you will need your PTAN. For Medicaid, your provider ID for each state. And then note any EAP contracts or special programs you're enrolled in. And then let me talk about the time frame that you should be looking at. Ideally, you want to look at 6 months of data that captures seasonal patterns and gives you enough volume to see trends. If you are short on time or it's a smaller practice, 90 days does work for a snapshot, but I'd say you try to use at least one full quarter, 3 months minimum to identify patterns. You just want to make sure the period you're reviewing is far enough in the past that most claims are closed out, and then you can always expand the date range if you find anything unusual. And then, so now that we have the foundation of everything we need, let's talk about what data you actually need to export. So first, you want to pull a report of all appointments in your date range, include date of service, provider, service type, and billed CPT code. You'll compare the scheduled services against what was actually billed to catch missed charges. And then from your billing system or clearinghouse, get a list of all claims submitted, include claim ID, date submitted, payer, billed amount, and current status, paid, pending, denied. This will become your master list. And then run an accounts receivable aging report. You want to break it down by payer and age, 0 to 30 days, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, 90 plus days, and then include both the insurance and patient responsibility balances. And then export all your payment transactions. I'm talking about insurance payments, adjustments, patient payments. And then this could sometimes be called a transaction by line item report. You want the CPT code, charged amount, allowed amount, paid amount, patient portion, and adjustment codes. And if your EHR system can filter adjustments by reason, pull a report of all denial codes in the period. This will show you the volume of each denial reason right away. And then you want to download any rejection reports from your clearinghouse. These are claims that failed before they even got to the payer. Things like invalid member IDs, missing provider info, anything like that. And then here's a quick tip. In simple practice, the complete data export will handle much of this into one download. In therapy notes, use the revenue or insurance aging reports and export to Excel or CVS. In Advanced MD, use the patient transaction and patient visit summary reports for more comprehensive billing and clinical data. We use Advanced MD, and I would highly recommend that. The data export is so much cleaner, so much better. And then you always want to export in a format that allows sorting and filtering for analysis, so that'd be CSV or Excel. So at this point, you've gathered all the raw materials, the foundation for what you need for a comprehensive billing review. You have access to your systems, documented your credentialing status, chosen appropriate time frame, and exported all the critical reports. And then in the next episode, we're going to be diving into the coding and documentation, reviewing whether your services are coded correctly and whether your documentation supports those codes. And this is the start of where a lot of denials and revenue loss actually begin. So it's critical to get this right. And I hope you enjoyed this part 1 and looking forward to this series. If you have questions about your setting up your billing review, you can just drop them in the comments below or check us out at ardentpracticepartners.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.